Right, last two. I think this is the last two. Yeah.
Oh, what is that?
What is that?
I wouldn't know this. I wouldn't have known most of these.
That's not on FIFA.
Not on FIFA.
Is
Is that a
might
real
not be on
flag?
FIFA.
Have you just
That is
made
a
that
real
in
flag.
Photoshop?
What continent is it in?
Asia.
Yeah, I was getting strong Asia vibes.
May be connected to a rather large country.
Is it Hong Kong?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, because I haven't got another one.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the In the Lobby podcast. Today it is TN and I, and we have a very special guest with us. I'll throw over to Wonderboy, Harrie. I'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, where your name came from, because I thought it was from something completely different. So go ahead, let us know all about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Won't lie, I feel a little bit out of depth on this podcast because I've seen you've had like Olympians and like rappers on, and then there's just like little old me.
Listen,
You're good,
don't
man.
be
You're
silly.
good.
We
You're
like
good.
to have people from like all neck of
Exactly,
the woods.
all-
Like, I think the good thing about it is like we like to have a big variety. And also I feel like with the line of work that you do, there's going to be a lot of people that are fascinated
Yeah, for sure.
in how to get into it, which I will ask you more about later on. But first of all, feel free to tell us what you do.
Yeah, sure. So currently an esports commentator of 10 years, started in 2014, which feels like a lifetime ago now. But since then, I've kind of shifted into more esports coaching, so more hands-on stuff with the competitors. I've been a bit of a Swiss Army knife, to be fair. I've done a bit of social media management. I've done a bit of in-game observing. So it's been fun throughout the time in esports because I've had to kind of pivot into different roles, but it's kind of always been about the games. So, you know, that's what I'm about.
So yeah, I was gonna say I had a little look at your LinkedIn yesterday, which is I never look at anyone's LinkedIn. This is the first time I've ever looked at anyone's LinkedIn. But I was looking at it, and there is a lot of stuff on there. You've done a lot of different things. First of all, so your online name, where can people find you online? What is your like online alias?
So my online Twitter handles are Wonderboyo. So Wonderboy with an O on the end,
Wonderboy.
but the actual in-game name is Wonderboy. Sadly, there's a lot of Wonderboys out there. If you know MMA, there's Stephen Thompson, who, you know, I'm not going to lie, I'm 5'9". I'm pretty sure is like 6'2", knows karate, and is pretty built. I'm pretty scrawny, so don't think it's very easy to get us confused. But the origin of the name actually came from the Tenacious D song. Big Tenacious D fan. I've seen him live last summer as well. So that's the origin. That's the origin there.
That's super cool. I don't think I've ever met anyone has been to see Tenacious D live.
I don't think I have either.
Have you only seen them once?
I've only seen them once. Yeah, I've only seen them once, but I definitely want to see them again. They were really fun.
I was gonna say, Are they doing any more? Are they doing any more shows?
I think they are, but I think they're sold out. I think I missed it this time around.
No!
Yeah, I'm disappointed in myself.
Man, that's disappointing. That is disappointing. So you've been in the game for a very long time. So you said like 10 years. What was kind of like your lead into the industry? Like, what did you start off doing? Where did it all begin?
Well, it depends how long you've got, really, because I started.
We got time.
I think I got my first games console in like 2000. Well, when would it have been? 2005. So I would have been like 11 years old at that. I mean, I know I'm showing my age at this point, but got my first console then, and then started getting good at Halo. I played Halo 2 every day, and when I mean every day, I mean every single day. I played Halo 2. This started to get good. Then Halo 3 came out in 2007, started to get even better, and then heard about these online forums where you could talk to like other people, you could like build teams, you could compete in tournaments, and that sounded really fun. So I started hanging around that kind of crowd, and then heard about offline tournaments. And then from there, I was like, well, that sounds pretty fun, but I was still quite young, and my parents were like, we're not so sure about like this esports thing. You know, meeting strangers from the internet. It's like a horror story from like Catfish UK. So, they were obviously a bit nervous about that. But then when I went to university, I kind of was able to spread my wings a little bit and say, you know what, I think it's about time I attend one of these tournaments. Like, fell in love with the scene, meeting people that you've played with every day online, in person was amazing. And then from there, I competed in, I think it was about 4 events in Halo, 4v4 competition, which was super fun. Just you and 3 teammates, going at it with other teams and seeing how you can do. And then one day, my friend Richard Sims, big up Sims, love that guy. He asked if I wanted to sit down in the commentary booth, because he was the caster at the time. He was the head commentator. It wasn't. I don't believe it was a paid position at that time, but it was something that I was like, you know what, my team's on break right now. I've got nothing to do. Let me sit down on the microphone, and people responded quite positively to it. So the next event after that, I was able to do it alongside playing, and then the event after that, I didn't play anymore. I was just doing the commentary, and then it kind of sprouted from there into kind of what I do today, which I'm so thankful for, because it's taken me to some crazy places, and it's crazy. That's the origin story pretty much.
So that's really cool, because I guess that's like you mentioned it. You didn't know if it was like a paid position back then. I guess the one thing about esports is that it's grown so much since, I guess, that kind of era of like you're playing Halo from like your university dorm or whatever. Because our usual other co-host Ian, he talks about Halo a lot, and some of his favorite memories are like, I was just in university, like playing with my buddies and stuff. Yeah. And now he's also doing like insanely awesome things. So I feel like Halo is a bit of like a gateway.
Like the benchmark.
It's like almost like a gateway.
It feels like a lot of people do have their kind of origins in Halo, and everyone has like a soft spot for it, because I think it was one of the first like Xbox Live titles. I could be wrong in saying that.
No, I think you are right. Yeah.
So if you had Xbox Live and you wanted to play with friends, like your options, I think, were like Project Gotham Racing, or it was Halo, and people loved Halo too. So yeah, I think a lot of people have a soft spot for it.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely remember like when I first got not first got a console, but like first like a next generation console. I think I got Xbox 360 because PS3 was just way too expensive at the time. Halo just naturally came in like the bundle, and I was like, Halo, FIFA, those are like my 2 go-to games back in the day, and I never really got to grips with it, but it was just fun jumping around and shooting things. It was pretty cool. Yeah,
it's never a game that I got into, and I feel like I really missed a trick, because everybody talks about Halo as being like one of their all-time favorite games. But I never really started off with a console. I had a console, but I played like a couple of single-player games. Then I remember I played, the only thing I can compare it to, and I guess it's similar in mechanics sci-fi wise. Did you play Unreal Tournament?
Yes, I did.
Unreal Tournament, yeah.
That was like, I think it was like 2003 game or something, but my dad got me into playing Unreal Tournament, and it had the same kind of like almost like anti-gravity mechanics, or like low gravity mechanics, and like super high jumping and stuff like that. And I loved Unreal Tournament, but I never got into Halo. So I feel like it's one of those games that I would probably really enjoy. But how long ago did the like last super iconic Halo game come out? Like, what was the last big Halo game?
It depends who you ask, really. Because there's a lot of people that were like, oh, Halo 3 was the last good Halo. And then there's some people that are like, oh, Halo Reach was the last good Halo. And Halo 3 came out in 2007. I think trying to
2007,
trying to think back to my knowledge. 2007. I mean, that is a long time ago. I mean, we're coming up on almost 20 years. I think Halo Reach was 2010.
Was it 10 years? 11? That's 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Yeah, almost 20 years ago. Holy.
And then some people loved Reach. Reach was actually when I stopped playing and started playing FIFA, because I was like, you know what? Not sure about how the direction they've taken it. And then some people loved Halo 4, which is when I came back to like compete and actually start attending tournaments for the first time. That came out in, when was that? 2013, I want to say 2012 maybe. No, it must have been 2013. It really depends who you ask, because there's so many Halo titles. The one we play at the moment is called Halo Infinite. And I know it's a lot of people's first Halos. It's definitely not my first Halo, but I think it's got the potential to be as good as it could be. It's just a shame that, you know, with so many games these days, it got kind of rushed into launching, and then there's been a bunch of things they need to fix, and then by fixing one thing, they break like 50 other things. So it's just the way things go, you know, with these live service games.
I think that's the sad reality of a lot of like newer modern games, and there's such a rush to put things out because you're now competing with so many other franchises and so many other titles that they're just like, and like the fans are complaining, give us the game sooner, and then they put the game out and it's just it's not good. There's a million things that I want to talk about because you mentioned FIFA as well, and Tien is more the FIFA, or I guess EAFC person. But before we get into talking a little bit more about FIFA and then kind of what you did after Halo, I want to talk, because you've done loads of stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about Halo, I guess, as an esport, because is Halo what got you into like kind of coaching and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely it is. How I got into coaching actually was so I don't want to say serendipitous, but it was quite fortunate because I love coaching. I've been coaching for the last we're coming up on 3 years now. I think it might be 3 years actually. And essentially the way Halo Infinite works at the moment in terms of competitions is you've got different regions, and then you qualify from the regions into the majors, which are just, individual tournaments, usually in North America, but we've got one in London this year. And anyway, there was this team in Europe called Navi. And Navi, if you know esports, you've probably heard of Navi. And what you usually think about with Navi is, Counter-Strike and winning. They usually win, they usually do really good in all the games they compete in. And I was commentating a tournament, and I think they had their lowest placement ever. I think it was maybe top 6 within the region. And this isn't even worldwide, this is within Europe. And this is a group of players that had won events a lot in Halo 5 throughout 2015 to like 2018. They've all had success, so there's no reason they shouldn't have been performing better than they had. After the commentary I did, I received a message from their captain and was like, hey, listen, we're without a coach right now. We have a lot of issues we need to fix. We want to bring you on board. Is that something you're interested in? And at the time, I'd kind of, I don't want to say fallen out of favor with the big Halo events commentary wise, but I definitely wasn't getting as many gigs as I had hoped, especially with the launch of Halo Infinite. So for me, it was a bit of a no-brainer because it was almost a return to my roots where, I was a competitor. I loved the process. I loved being at tournaments, and being at tournaments as a commentator versus being in the arena, with the passion. It's on the battlefield, on the front lines, if you will. It's a different kind of beast. So I had to think about it, and then there wasn't really much to think about. I said, yeah, go on then. Come on, let's do this. And from then, we've kind of gone from strength to strength. I think we went from top 24 at the first major I attended to top 8, which is now the 3rd highest European placing ever at a Halo major, which is great. Wow. I think we won around $100,000 and around 8 tournaments, both domestically and internationally. So
that's incredible.
That's sick.
It was a lot of success, and it was fun to put kind of the theory crafting that I put across in my commentary onto paper and see it actually have success. So yeah, that was really cool.
That is really cool. Do you feel like I've known a couple of coaches, and obviously it's something that like you don't really ever think about unless you know what esports is. You don't think, oh, there's people out there that are coaching esports teams on how to like get better. Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure behind being a coach sometimes? Like, I can imagine it's just like being a coach of any kind of like regular sports team as well. Like I would feel like an immense amount.
Probably worse because you can't control it almost.
Exactly. Like I would feel so much pressure on myself to be like, okay, well, if we don't win now, I'm gonna feel bad about it. But I guess that's something you probably just have to like get over, right? Like at the end of the day, there's only so much that you can really do. And you know that you're doing your best. Yeah. But still, that must be quite a hard environment to keep thriving in, I imagine.
Absolutely. And Tien especially is right. I mean, you're both right. But when you can't control it,
it's the worst.
It's like, I can only tell these guys so much and advise them in the moment what to do. But like, ultimately, it's up to them to make the final decision and make, the decisions they choose to make, so they can either listen to you or they can not. Obviously, as a coach, I'm always going to think I'm right, but these guys are the ones, grinding the game 8 hours a day. So oftentimes they do overrule it, but yeah, it's hard. And actually, it's a good comparison you make, Harrie, to, real world sports, because I think the team before I joined was receiving a bit of pressure from management, in terms of like underperforming. And that is kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like, you've got pressure for not performing and it makes you not perform because you're under more pressure. So me coming in, I was able to become kind of that middleman between the management and the team, which took some responsibility, some pressure off their shoulders. So I was able to help in that regard. But yeah, it was a lot of pressure. I actually took up exercise because I needed more time for my own mind, because it does consume you a little bit.
That's crazy. Wow. And I would ask, like, of the big three, I guess, competing, casting, and coaching, what would you say is your favorite? Like, I feel like I'm in my element. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is me. Like,
oh, it's like making me choose my favorite child. Not that I've got kids, but I imagine what it's like.
If you did, that would be the same question. If I had kids,
it's difficult to answer. I would have to think about that, because it's obviously, it's different skill sets. I enjoy the fact that coaching allows me to be as close to the action as possible. It's given me more of an appreciation when I commentate in other esports, having gone through the process in Halo. I can then bring that to EAFC, or I can bring that to eFootball and empathize a bit more with the players. Likewise, the things I see when I commentate, I can then bring back into coaching and all these other aspects. So I know it sounds like a bit of a cop-out and I'm on the fence, but really it is so different. If I had to choose at this moment in time, and it changes day to day, it's probably the coaching, just because it does go back to my roots as a competitor and I like to win. But when the results don't go your way,
it's hard.
It is hard. It's really hard.
But then when it does go your way, I bet you feel like the most insane sense of pride. Like, you're probably next to the players, and I guess like the team as an overall, you're probably the closest person to that you feel, that's what I've contributed to, and that's what I've done. Yeah. So absolutely. It must feel like you must feel absolutely euphoric when you get like a win, or just to see your team like doing better and improving must feel incredible.
It does. I will say I'm one of those people, I know you hear it a lot, and maybe those people who listen to sports people and they hear them say this, they're like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But I hate losing more than I like winning, and that's probably a negative mindset. But when we've won tournaments, when we've qualified, we've done our job, it's more of a relief, as if like, okay, that's 100%. That's the floor rather than the ceiling. So it's more painful when we lose than it is joyous when we win.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's fair. I was going to ask, like, as someone that's never played Halo, and we'll get off the topic of Halo soon because you've done so much.
I could talk about it all day, don't worry.
That's great, because I have a lot to learn. Halo's, that's why I was asking you about kind of what you thought the last like iconic Halo game was, because I've only really started to understand esports more in the past kind of like, I guess 2 to 3 years since I joined here as a content creator, and obviously we do a lot of esports here. I've kind of understood more about it. But one thing I have noticed is like these games that I thought were like slightly older still have a lot of popularity around them. And there's 2 things I want to ask. One being, what do you think has kept Halo going all this time, both as just a game and as an esport? But secondly, do you see a lot of like younger generations still getting into Halo as in the competitive side of Halo? Because a lot of these like younger kids won't have really grown up on Halo the way that you did. And obviously esports has a very, very young generation. Like there's like 13, 14-year-olds just absolutely smashing competitions out the park in a ton of different games. And it seems like that should almost only be reserved for like Fortnite or really new games. Yeah. But what do you think is there like a younger demographic that kind of get into Halo after its main kind of like event, I suppose?
It's two really good questions. I can answer the second one first.
Okay, go for it.
Because we've recently picked up on our team a 17-year-old from Finland. His name is Wootum. And when he was, I think, 15, maybe 16, he won. Oh, he's told me this before, and I'm going to get the number wrong. I think it was $30,000 on Splitgate for Space Station.
Splitgate was so. Did you play Splitgate?
No, I never
I
played Splitgate.
loved Splitgate.
Splitgate was fun. I didn't play past the beta, but it was very fun.
I don't think I did either, but it was really fun.
As someone who loves Portal and FPSs, match made in heaven, but it did make my brain hurt a little bit.
Portal and like Halo-esque type game in one. So like you're running around like TDM, but also you're making portals and like teleporting.
That's pretty sick.
It's a really cool concept.
You can also shoot through the portal, so it's like you could be stood next to a portal, and then just a rocket comes through, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm dead.
Sick.
Now I feel like I'm gonna have to go home and try and replay it. Now we've talked about it. Anyway, carry on. Tell us about this player.
Wootum he was 15, 16 when he won that large amount of prize money. And then once Splitgate kind of fell off, he decided to come over to Halo Infinite and has since, risen up the ranks to a point where he was almost undeniable to pick up as a team. Like as in terms of like talent pool in Europe, he was at the top. So we identified him, and it was a bit, I know I'm going off track here a little bit, but he's a mouse and keyboard player, which Halo being, traditionally from consoles has now transitioned to PC. There are very few and far between top mouse and keyboard players. He is on track to be the best, just because there are about 3 out of maybe 120 pro players.
Mouse and keyboard players.
They've got about 3.
That's so surprising to me.
Yeah.
I would never have thought that would have been a controller. But that's only because I don't do console. So like to me, that would always be a mouse and keyboard game. That's wild.
It is. And it actually kind of feeds into your first question is that, how does Halo keep evolving and, stay relevant and keep people interested? Is by adding things like mouse and keyboard support, making the game viable to people who play things like Counter-Strike. Obviously, huge player base in that. People that play, used to play Call of Duty and Battlefield on the old consoles will have played Halo at the same time because, you don't just play one. You have to, dip your toe into all of them and figure out which shooter is the one for you. So it's really about adding elements from other games that work, but also don't break the traditional Halo way of life. The traditional Halo gameplay has to stay there, otherwise it's just a completely different game.
So that's actually really shocking to me. I never even thought about the fact that it would have mainly just been a controller game.
I mean, considering it's been out for a while, I knew it'd be a controller game, but 3 mouse and keyboard players is just crazy. Like such a low number.
When did people start? When did they add mouse and keyboard support to that game? Was it, I guess, when it came to PC, right?
That's right.
When did it come to PC?
I think it started with Halo Infinite in 2021.
So that's quite recent.
That's so recent.
That's really recent.
Yeah, and it's always going to be a controller game purely because it was likely built with controllers in the studio. It's built to play on the Xbox consoles as well as the PC. So like naturally it's going to be catered towards controllers, but 343 who make Halo have done quite a good job in terms of like balancing and making mouse and keyboard viable. And hopefully we'll see more. If you're listening to this or watching this, like if you're a mouse and keyboard phenom and you're looking for like an esport, it's viable in Halo because Wootum on our team has been, consistently a top performer. So he's on track to really break the mold when it comes to like mouse and keyboard Halo players.
That's really good.
So when like at competitions, most people are playing with the controller.
That's right. Yeah. And we're actually going to attend our first event with Wootum in March. So that's next month. Wow. That's actually crept up closer than I thought.
It's in 1 year. Yeah.
It's going to be funny. He's going to have to sit on the far right side because there's 4 people to a team, but obviously you don't want to be sitting next to someone who's swiping a mouse all the way across the desk. It's like, it's going to be so distracting for the other players. So it's a challenge we're going to have to overcome. But yeah, I think I'm excited to see how it translates and see it in the flesh as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like difference in performance across the team with when you have one person that's on a mouse and keyboard and everyone else is on a controller. It just seems so bizarre to me. It's like playing Rocket League on a mouse and keyboard. I have a friend that plays Rocket League on a mouse and keyboard, and he is so good. And I just genuinely do not
I can't wrap my head around
understand how you can ever do it.
What is so funny about Wutu in the game is because obviously controller, there's natural like acceleration curves, right? So unless you're playing on a crazy sensitivity, your turn is usually quite slow and like, but when you watch him like in the game, you'll see his little player model just turn completely, like almost instantly, and is so foreign as someone who's watched Halo for like coming on 20 years. Seeing a person like turn instantly is just it's still something my brain has to get used to.
That's crazy. Do you think is Halo like growing as? Well, to be fair, I think every esport is kind of growing as an esport because it's so new. I was going to ask if you think Halo is growing as an esport, but I suppose in a way everything kind of is in a way.
It is and it isn't. Obviously with esports at the moment seems to be going through a bit of an adjustment period where we're seeing, a bit of shrinkage across the board, and that's the same in every esport I'm involved in, including, eFootball and other titles. Halo, I would say, has survived the storm so far quite well in that there is still provision in the open format for anyone who is good enough. Say you're listening to this right now, you've never competed in Halo, but you turn up and you're the best player in the world. You could win events from there. There's no like barrier to participation. It's a completely open format. And I think that's played into Halo's benefit because not only can you, if you're good enough, compete with the pros that you're watching on stream, also tells the shareholders like, hey, listen, this esport is alive because there are X amount of people playing and it's not tied to the population of the game. So I think that's something that the Halo esports program definitely has going for it because it is open, up until the World Championships, anyone can turn up and qualify for it. So that's definitely a plus. Yeah.
Definitely pretty cool.
That is really cool. Well, that's good to know because I do like those kinds of games. Like I said, like there's so many esports out there now that you can watch, but I do really like the idea of like what Halo is and how Halo works and operates as a game. So I think I might have to watch a few Halo championships or something, and I'm going to go home and play Splitgate now that you've mentioned it. But I guess, let's talk a little bit about after Halo and getting kind of into more eFootball. Before this, I genuinely had to ask Tian. I was
she was like, what is eFootball?
I was like, what is eFootball? Because I know obviously now FIFA is now EAFC. So it was explained to me very quickly that eFootball is now PES. Or PES is now eFootball, I guess. So how did you get into that?
Well, I actually started with FIFA. I did a lot of work with Gfinity, who sadly I don't think are around anymore. I could be wrong in saying that, but
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, but I had a really good relationship with them, and they did something called the Gfinity Elite Series, which had 3 titles off the top of my head. I think it was Rocket League, maybe Counter-Strike, and FIFA. And they asked me to come and commentate FIFA, and I was like, well, that sounds fun. I like real world football. I enjoy playing FIFA as well. So I was able to kind of enter into the football video game sphere that way. After that, I was able to work with FIFA directly with some of the FIFA. I think that was FIFA 18, so that would have been in 2018. FIFA 19 comes along. I was able to do some of the global series events in London, again, alongside Gfinity and EA Sports, which was great. And then after that, I must have gotten someone's attention over at Konami because they then invited me over to do what was then the PES League events, which was essentially the eFootball version of the FIFA Global Series. And again, PES was one of those games I played as a kid, like Pro Evo 5, Pro Evo 6. Great games. You could probably picture like the game cover in your mind with like John Terry, Thierry Henry like facing off against each other in 2005. And I thought, you know what? I've been doing games from my childhood, Halo, I've been doing FIFA. Why not? Let's, try do PES as well. And ended up absolutely loving it, to be fair. I had not touched a PES since probably 2006, actually, with Adriano on the cover. So able to do that in 2019 in Liverpool, and that was so fun because the two games are so different, where FIFA is super arcadey, very like quick skill moves. eFootball is more of like a simulation game where the animations are a little bit slower, so you have to be a bit more methodical in terms of your control and the passes you make and the movements. So for me, it was easier commentating eFootball / Pro Evo because it was more like real world football to me. I always loved playing FIFA, EAFC, you know, but the main esports with that is Ultimate Team. There is a lot of knowledge you need for Ultimate Team. And I could never really connect with Ultimate Team. I was always like pro clubs, career mode, you know, financial takeover in career mode, taking like Forest Green up to like the Premier League or something like that. But for me, eFootball was a lot easier to come in and be like, well, you know, these Manchester United players, esports players, are playing as Manchester United against Barcelona players who are playing as Barcelona. So
okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
For me, it was a bit of an easier transition, but I still love watching both because I, as an esports lover, you know, I can watch anything and understand what's going on, unless it's League of Legends or Dota, because I don't know what's going on in those games.
You're not into your MOBAs, no.
You're not alone there, bro.
To be fair, I'm not into my MOBAs either, but those are some of like the biggest.
I just don't understand what's going on. It just looks so confusing to me.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think that's the case with any game that you if you don't play it, you probably won't really have a clue what's going on either.
I feel like some games are definitely like FIFA, for example, is just 2 goals, 1 shoots that way.
Honestly, there's been times I've like seen a game of FIFA on in the background. I've been convinced that it was an actual game of football. Like that's how much I can tell the difference. But
for sure. I'm with you there. I ain't got a clue what's going on, but I think I'm surprised how successful like Dota and Rocket and League are, given that like you have to play the game. I guess that comes from like having a good player base, whereas I've played Rocket League maybe twice in my life, but I can sit down and watch Rocket League because I know what's going on.
Yeah,
you get the ball in the goal with the cars and they fly through the air. Like, you know.
I know people that just enjoy like watching League of Legends even though they don't play it, and for me, that's not something that I could do.
I just can't wrap my head around it. No, that being said, though, I do love watching Rocket League. Like competitively, like there's just so much going on. I feel like the casters make it so entertaining as well. Like there's one guy, I don't know his name, so forgive me, but he's very, very like animated. He's always shouting, he's always putting himself about, and I think that's what makes it entertaining. Does that make sense?
I actually watched a really good documentary. I think it was on Netflix, and it was about, I think it must have been about Dota, but it was a whole documentary about like these players going to their Dota championships or something and how all the esports works, and it's just a really good documentary. Didn't watch any Dota after that, but I had a lot of respect for them. Let me tell you. Speaking of FIFA, so I'm really into GeoGuessr, and you wouldn't know it by the fact that I don't know any flags apart from the UK one, pretty much.
Right.
However, one theory that I've come up with is that people that play FIFA, and this is a lot of reason that people in my Twitch chat often bully me. And I'm like, well, you've played FIFA, so you know your flags. I haven't played FIFA, so I don't know my flags.
Okay.
So I'm going to hold up a few flags to you both.
Right.
And I don't know how this is going to work. I guess it could be the first one to shout it out. Why not?
But what if because I'm here in real life, what if I see it before him? Why don't you show us?
Okay.
And then like we'll both say an answer maybe. So like we can both say whatever.
We could take it in turns, maybe going first. Yeah, I think maybe that's a good idea.
Well, I think the first few ones are going to be very easy.
You say that. You're probably going to be completely fine. I'll fail it.
We're putting Tien on the spot here, but I'm here for it.
Here we go. And can you see this?
I can see it.
Okay.
Who's guessing first here?
This might be mirrored, so I'm concerned.
It's not mirrored for me. I can see it.
Okay, perfect. All right, you go first, Harrie.
Okay, that is Iceland.
He's right.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. I'll do it so that you answer first and he answers first and then you answer first.
Cool.
Just in case he's copying all of
your
answers.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair.
Why would I do that?
Got my eye on you, bro.
All right.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
Sweden.
It is Sweden. Yeah.
Well done.
I feel like this is just going to get progressively harder like as we go along.
No, they're not too bad, I promise.
say
Hopefully
that.
I've done this okay, right?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think that is Malaysia.
I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and copy him. I actually have no idea.
You can just say Malaysia then.
Yeah, Malaysia.
It is Malaysia.
How did you get
one.
that?
I'm proud of that one.
That's solid from you,
Never
to be
played
fair.
Malaysian
Thank you. Thank you very much.
EAFC?
They don't have them. That's why I don't know it.
I know that from doing the Esports Commonwealth Games thing alongside the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham in, was it last summer? Maybe it was the summer before.
Oh,
Either way,
wow.
so cool. And Malaysia won gold for eFootball, I believe. So
Really? That's
Oh,
sick.
there you go. Well, then
That's
he
solid.
has a reason to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
Fair. Cool.
TN first.
South Korea.
Yes. Very
It
good.
is South Korea.
Yes.
I only know that
let's
because of
go.
Son. That's literally the
Yeah.
only reason.
As a Spurs fan, I respect that.
Oh, you're a Spurs?
I'm a Spurs man, yeah. I'm a
I'm
Spurs
upset
man.
now, man.
No.
I kept
It was
that
going so
quiet.
well. It was going so well. Okay.
Okay. Oh, you're
Okay.
confident.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me first?
Yeah, you go first, Harry.
Is that Georgia?
It's
It is
Georgia.
Georgia indeed. Ding, ding,
Okay.
ding. You guys are doing well so far. Oh, this is a random one, but this has got to be one of my favorite flags.
I know that flag.
You know it?
Yeah.
It's you
Go on.
first.
North Macedonia? Is that right? I think.
No, is it?
I'm saying North Macedonia as well.
It is North Macedonia. Congratulations.
I'm warm today. I
Yeah.
had
I'm
a
so
bit
glad
of
you
a
went
slow
first because
start.
I actually didn't know that one. I was just copying you.
All right. I'll show you first and then I'll show. Okay. Hopefully the colours are
Yeah.
up all right on here.
There are a lot of South American flags with similar
That's what I was
colours.
thinking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
I think I'm going with Colombia.
I'm going Venezuela.
It's Colombia.
I knew it. I knew
You
it.
can say the same one, guys. It's fine.
No, but
This
I
is-
actually thought it was Venezuela.
This is one that always throws me off, and hopefully the colours have bled a little bit at the bottom, but hopefully this is fine.
Okay.
Now, this is where I hope that the camera is the right way around, because otherwise it would make a
Otherwise,
difference.
yeah.
If it's not,
Right.
I've got a free pass and an excuse. So,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. All right, Tien.
I'm going Côte d'Ivoire. Is that right?
Harry?
Is that wrong?
I'm going to Ireland.
That is Côte d'Ivoire,
Ah.
Côte d'Ivoire.
unfortunately.
You got a pass, bro. Don't worry.
Yeah, it was backwards, right?
Yeah, it was backwards. It was backwards.
Right, last two. I think this is the last two. Yeah. All right.
Oh, what is that?
What is that?
I wouldn't know this. I wouldn't have known most of these.
That's not on
is that?
FIFA.
Not on FIFA.
Is that
it
a
might
real
not be on
flag?
FIFA.
Have you just
That is
made
a
that
real
in
flag.
Photoshop?
No. Well, if it is made in Photoshop, I didn't do it, so don't blame me.
Can you what continent is it in?
Asia.
Yeah, I was getting strong Asia vibes.
I'm going
May be connected to a rather large country.
Is it Hong Kong?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, because I haven't got another one.
Cambodia or Singapore.
It is Hong Kong.
Oh,
Oh, that's solid from you. That's solid.
proud.
Right,
I'm
one
pretty proud.
more.
Really good.
One more.
You deserve to win off that alone.
I actually don't know which way round this goes. I
I
think
know
it goes
this
this way.
I think it's upside down.
Is it?
Maybe.
I don't know if it is.
I'm not
May
sure.
or
Do you
may
want
not
me to
be upside
Google
down.
it? Because I know which one it
Well,
is.
I've got it on the sheet and the stars are at the top.
Yeah, no, the stars
Okay,
are at the
all
top.
right,
The stars are at
Tien,
the top. Yeah,
what do
yeah,
you
yeah.
think this is?
I have no idea. I'm not gonna lie. I give up.
Okay.
That's Kosovo.
It is Kosovo. I think it's that way. I have no idea. We'll find out,
That's
I guess.
crazy.
I think you're right. I think the stars are at the top.
Well done. I think you win
Yeah,
that,
you
Harry.
definitely won.
Thank you very much.
Solid
Thank you
effort,
very
though,
much.
to be honest.
Yeah,
like, again, I wouldn't know barely, and I'd maybe know two. So you
I am-
guys did very well.
Proud of both of us, though. I feel like
Yeah,
we
yeah,
didn't embarrass
yeah.
ourselves. You
Just
know.
goes to show
I mean,
you,
we made a
FIFA
good effort, man.
or eFootball players really do know their flags.
Yeah, man.
Right, before we wrap up, I have a couple more questions. One of them, I actually never ask anyone this, but I feel like because you've played a lot of different games, I'm going to throw a random curveball and ask, if you could only play one video game for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, why did you have to ask that?
I never ask anyone that, but actually I quite like the idea of that.
That's a really good question.
Only one video game for the rest of your life. And you would definitely get sick of it after like a few months, but you don't have a choice.
It's tricky, but can it just be like a franchise?
I'll give you a franchise.
Give me a franchise. Yeah. The one game that I've played since a kid to this day consistently, and that I would love to work on. So if anyone from this esports has any contacts, anyone's heard of anyone from this, Pokemon. Give me Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Love Pokemon esports.
I was not expecting to hear that.
I wasn't expecting you to say Pokemon either.
I've played every single Pokemon, and I think I could get away with only playing that for the rest of my life. So I'm going with Pokemon.
I thought you were going to say the Halo franchise.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
What about you?
One game. Ooh.
Or a franchise.
Franchise. It's got to be like maybe Mario.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, I just think.
To be fair.
Because it's so broad. Do you know what I mean? Like I've got football, like Mario Super Striker. I've got Super Smash Bros. I've got Mario Kart. I just feel like I've got a lot of room to work with.
That is a really underrated answer, by the way. Because you've got so many options.
You've got so much to work with, don't you?
You do. That's a lot of games. I guess just pick the franchise with most games.
Yeah,
that makes the most sense. All right, we do one more segment, which we were going to do at the start, but I think it falls well at the end. It is called Survival Mode. And basically, Survival Mode is you have to, firstly, think about the last video game that you played. And secondly, if you woke up tomorrow in that video game, how would you survive?
I'm dead.
So what was the last...
I'm dead.
Away. What was the last video game you played?
Well, I last played Halo Infinite, and I don't know if you know much about that, but that is like 9-foot super soldiers shooting each other with futuristic weapons. As I said before, I'm about 5'9" on a good day.
On a good
very
day.
scrawny. If I could hide, maybe I could survive 20 minutes, but people would find me. So there's radar in that game. I'm done for.
This is going to sound like a very dumb question. Is Halo Infinite is it like an online game? Do you play against? It's like a TDM, like you play against other people.
Yeah, that's right. You can play against bots to like warm up, but you play against other players online, and then there's so many different game modes. There's like TDM, there's like oddball, which is like you hold a ball for a set amount of time to score points. King of the Hill, where you stand in an area it's a bit like Hardpoint from Call of Duty. The longer you stay in the hill, the more points you get. And I think that's it. Oh, Capture the Flag, obviously. Everyone knows Capture the Flag.
But you don't fancy your chances. You don't think you'd survive for very long.
20 minutes is a joke. I think you got a bit more than that.
You have so much experience.
It depends on the game mode, because if it's like Capture the Flag, I could maybe like grab the flag and like hide, and then wait for everyone to be like, oh no, they've got the flag, let's go and look for it, and then maybe use that as a distraction and run the other way. But again, we're talking like 10-foot super soldiers, guys. Like, come on, it's like, I want my height.
I wouldn't stand a chance in any
true.
kind of FPS game. I'd just be done for. And you'd be happy to know most people, whenever we ask them the question, just say they would also hide. Yeah. So
cool. That makes me feel a bit better.
You're completely fine. All right. Well, I think we will wrap. But before we do, let people know where they can find you. What's the main socials you use? Where can people find you if they want to check out what you do, or potentially for work and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course. You can find me on socials, Wonderboyo. So Wonderboy, and then just put an O on the end. The only caveat to that is Twitch, where I actually have the original Wonderboy. So you can just go,
wow,
twitch.tv/Wonderboy. You can find me there.
Oh, that's a great username to have on Twitch.
It is. I was very fortunate to acquire that. Shout out the Twitch staff. But
yeah, that's exactly how I got my name on Twitch as well. Don't worry.
Love the guys at
Twitch.
As
soon as I got partner, I was like, can I just snipe that inactive name, please?
You know what's funny? I actually changed my socials to Wonderboy Halo. And I was like, oh, can you go? No, sorry. I asked them if I could switch my username to Wonderboyo. And they were like, yeah, Wonderboyo is free. But is there another name you might want? And I was like, interesting. So they really hooked it up there. Like they did the legwork and then some.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah, that's a perk. That is a perk. Awesome. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. It has been great fun getting to know you and getting to know a little bit more about Halo. I've certainly learned a lot of things that I didn't know before. Wishing you all the best with anything that you might be doing in the near future. And I hope that we see your face on a screen somewhere soon.
Oh, amazing. Thanks, guys. Shout out to Tien and Harrie. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for chatting with us.
Love
and
you
guys, we'll catch you in the next podcast.
Goodbye.
Bye.